All right, so this lecture is on how to color your composition and where to access all the color palettes. What you're going to want to do is once you have finished tracing, you are going to be able to color. So you want to make sure that all of your color palettes are pulled up. You want to go to Window, and you want to make sure that the color one is checked off, and then also that your swatches one is checked off, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and click off that. And when you start coloring, what you want to start coloring is the objects that are furthest in the back, and then start coloring them forward. But otherwise, you can pretty much color in any order. Just know that depending on the order that you color, you might start blocking things that are beneath that you need to fill in color. So I like to start with whatever's furthest in the back and then build all the objects on top of them. Okay, and that's assuming that all your layers are in the correct order. All right, so first you want to go and select whatever object you're ready to color in, and I'm going to try to get this sky back here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a color, and what you can do is you can go to the fill color here and you can select a color for your sky. Oh, I selected the wrong thing. Okay. And select your sky here. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the fill color here, and I'm going to select a color for the sky, and I am going to remove the stroke. You always want to remember to remove the stroke as you go. Okay, and now I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to select these little mountains here, and I'm going to, or pine trees, I'm sorry, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to pick a dark color, and I'm going to, it ended up applying it to the stroke. I'm just going to reverse these. This is a little swap the color. What you want to always leave is no stroke around it. That line through it means no stroke. And then a fill color for the inside, okay? And they're going to start looking flat, so you may need to start adding little shades and shadows, and that's quite possible. It may be that they're so far behind that you don't need to. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now another way that you can color in is I'm going to go ahead and select the little mountain edge here, and we'll notice that in this swatches palette there's also this little like preset colors that you can go in, and I'm going to just go ahead and select one of these brown ones. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the outline. Okay, and now another one I'm going to show you is the color palette. You can go ahead and select another location here. There we go, something else, and I'm going to select the fill color, and you can go in here and you can pick the color from the slider. Okay, and you would remove the stroke. Okay, so there's these different palettes. There's this palette, and this palette that you could use for assigning color, solid color. Now, the thing becomes is that you usually want to match the colors or have pretty similar colors throughout your composition. You may change them, like the mountains may change in colors, like to show shadow and to show that things are a little bit further or behind. You can do that, but if you're looking for the exact same color, what you could do is once you've selected a color such as this, you can grab the fill color here, this little square, and drag it and drop it into the swatches palette. And what you'll notice is that it'll create a new swatch, so that when you want to use that again, say that I want to assign it to this, I can just click on it here. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm on my fill color. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to hit that one. Okay, and that way this color is the same as this color here. All right, and now this one, if you wanted to make it the same color, you could also similarly do the same thing. All right, so that's one way that you can get the colors that are the same. And as you start choosing new colors, like special purples that aren't already in the palette, or special browns or yellows, you can just, as you set a color that you really like, you can just grab it, drag it, and drop it in here. Okay, and then that way you have all your colors that you're using and you can repeat them. Another way to do it is, say that I want to fill in this one, this mountain here. I can grab this eyedropper tool. This is my eyedropper tool here. I can select it, and I can just click on the area that I want to select. So if I want to turn that brown, I would click here. If I want to turn that green, I would click here. Now the cool thing about this tool is that it remembers all properties assigned to that. So say for instance that you have a green tree that has no outline, it'll copy the green color of that tree and assign it to whatever object you have selected without the outline. Okay, so you don't manually have to go and remove it. So it's kind of nifty. You save a step there. Okay. All right, now in terms of choosing colors, you want to choose colors that pop out one from one another. In here, if you need a little bit of differentiation, what you can do is you can also grab that. And here it has that exact color because we know that we made it the same color. You can just double click on it, and sometimes you just want to shift it slightly over just to define the edge. And that way there's a little bit of a difference between, I'm going to zoom in, a little bit of a difference between that object and that object and that object. So it kind of gives a little bit of form, and you can see where the ridges are in that waterfall. Okay, so I'm going to zoom back out. Now, in terms of choosing colors, if you're not very good with color and your colors aren't seeming to pop out or to go together, you might want to check out this website called Color Lovers, www.colorlovers.com. And this website, if you go and you scroll down, it kind of has neat color combinations. So like if you want something that's in the cool range or just colors that kind of go together, you might just kind of take a look at some of these to see if there's any color palettes that you like. Now similarly, we have something embedded into Illustrator. If you go to Window and you make sure that Color Guide is open, this Color Guide, I'm going to pull it forward here. You can go in here, and if you pull down this, it'll give you kind of different color combinations that kind of go together, and you can just select say one of these here. I'll go ahead and click this one. It's kind of natureful, and you can just select colors from there instead. So that one will be that one, and this one will be this one, and this one could be also be that one. And then when I'm looking for greens, I might select that one. And these are colors that all kind of go together. So there's many options for choosing color, color guide, color, swatches. Don't forget about your eyedropper tool, or going in here and defining your own color and then creating your own swatches to color in objects. Whatever method works for you here, go ahead and feel free to use that, okay? One last reminder, just remember to always remove the strokes as you color in your objects. When you turn in your final project, you cannot leave the lines or the strokes on it. If you want to define the object's edges, then you need to create shapes filled with color to create shadows and highlights to give your objects form and definition as needed. You will see that in the lecture that deals with highlights and shadows, okay? All right, this concludes the lesson for how to color in Illustrator. If you have any questions, I led at hawaii.edu or 808-343-9565.